So for the next techniques, I thought we'd try painting inks on top of pencil and on top of pen to see how they react differently. And also to try to control the colours, because so far we've only used the colours as they come. We've not tried, any colour mixing. So if you sort of mix different tones and get different sort of intensities of colours, and again, this is in a really playful way, you can start to see how it comes out with pencil on top. So this is similar to a lot of what you saw in my sketchbook at the start, where I like to, mix pencil in with it. And you'll see that that is quite different from working on top of pen, because it depends what type of pen you use. But if it's not, if it's water soluble in any way, you see it's gonna run. Sometimes that effect's quite nice, depending whether you want like a looser effect. So it kind of like can soften it. But then sometimes it can just keep running and you just lose the detail. So just be careful if you are going to work on top of pen, what type of pens you're using. But I feel like it can be quite nice sometimes, because it can, the black mixes in with the colours of the inks and it makes it a little bit more subtle and the colours a bit less intense. But because I've added a lot of ink there, it's really, really smudged there. So it's just something to be aware of. Now I've just done random patterns and colours. I've sort of looked at some of the sheets a little bit for inspiration. But again, this is just exploratory, so there's no right or wrong with that. For the next techniques after those two, so after the pencil, after the pen, we are going to do a bit of sgraffito. So I've got a toothpick for everyone to do a bit of scratching. And again, you can just do any mark making. Make sure you press quite hard. You don't need to press hard enough to go through the paper. And like I said before, if you water down your inks, they'll really run into the channels and you'll be able to see those lines straight away. And like most techniques, it really works well if you use a darker colour too. So you can see now with the blue, those lines are a lot more obvious. Okay. And then another technique that I thought we'd try is oil pastels. So I've got these lovely metallic oil pastels as well, but I've also got regular colours, and I'm just being really, really crude with them just to show the technique. But you can, create any sorts of patterns. And this is where I'm going to use a big paintbrush actually for this. And I'm going to mix my blue and my pink because they make a absolutely gorgeous purple. So I'm just going to make sure that they are mixed together, and it should do a wax resist. So this is really, really good for creating an underlayer to any artwork that you do. And it'll keep on removing where the wax is. It'll keep developing over time as well. So that's really, really nice. And then for some of the other techniques, I thought we'd practice getting a bit more controlled with our paintbrush as well, and using some thinner paintbrushes and starting to paint some sort of shapes and patterns, so you can start to sort of have a little practice and then trying to fill those in as well. And just kind of having a little play, looking at maybe some of the shapes that are on there, having a little go at how much inks you should use, and just starting to create these abstract shapes. And maybe having a little go at some blending on there as well. So it's just sort of like starting to kind of paint certain shapes and things like that, because that's essentially, every painting is just painting shapes. So this is your foundation here. So some stripes can be nice, some cross hatching could be nice, just using the tip of your paintbrush. and some waves could be really, really nice. So just practicing lots of different mark making. And another technique I thought we'd try is using the spray bottles, but using them with ink. So you can create a stencil. And your stencil could be any shape. So I'm just gonna fold that in half and I'm just gonna cut random sort of shape out of here. Let's just use some scrap paper. Okay, so now I've got a stencil, but I've also got a mask. So you get two for the price of one with this, which I love. And then you want them to be firmly on the paper. Sometimes students in the past have used a little bit of masking tape to make sure it stays flat. And then you can, oh, it doesn't want to work. There we go. And then I thought if we put a different colour in each bottle, we could all switch bottles, because it's really, really nice to go over it then with a different colour. Doesn't want to work very well, this. I don't know why.
Clocked.
Yeah, I think it's clotted. Right, and then you should get that shape. So again, that can be a really nice technique for backgrounds and things like that. And the other thing I thought would be really, really good to practice is how to remove bits, because if you sort of make a mistake and you don't want something where it is, let's just say you want to remove some bits. I've got some cotton buds and I thought you could have a little go at practicing removing something so that you don't have a panic if you do make a mistake, and you can actually start to say, it's okay, I know how I can remove that because I've done that before. And if you rub too hard, you're going to start to eventually rub away the paper, but you can see that it is possible to, remove it. And if you want to make this into a bit of a pattern and you want to make that into like this, part of the style of the artwork, you could, repeat it and start to create a rubbing away of that as well. And then hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes, last one. And I know we've already tried masking fluid before, but I've got these with me if you do want to try it, because it's really good with trying to control the ink. So especially when we do our letters, if you've got masking fluid around the edges, you're not going to go over the edge. But if someone would argue, like, if you're a true artist, you wouldn't need that. But
break the rules.
Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah. So if you use the masking fluid really, really thick, so you can see here it's really thick and really built up, that's going to take a long time to dry, whereas wherever it's thin, that's going to dry a lot quicker. So if I just do some very thin lines, that'll dry a lot quicker. Oh, and by the way, all of these techniques you can draw into. I've bought some darker shading pencils with me because I've tried different shading pencils over the years on top of inks, and these are the best. So I've got loads. I bought a whole class pack, and I bought them when I was in school, but because I paid for them with my own money, I thought I'm not leaving them at school, I'm taking them with me because I paid for them. So I've got them with me, and these are 4Bs, but they are just the best ones for drawing on top of inks, because all the other types of pencil just don't show up, and the 6Bs are too soft on the inks. So you can work back in with these. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
4B.
Yeah. But I've honestly got a whole class set, so you can just have one of mine. I honestly wouldn't miss it. Okay. Right, so that should be dried now, or bits of this should be dry now. If bits aren't dry, just be careful of the masking fluid. Just be careful because of your brushes do not agree with masking fluid. Yeah, and it will ruin your paintbrushes. So I'm not going to go all over it, but hopefully that's enough for you to see that it's. And then I've got a remover tool that will help you to peel off the masking fluid, but you can just do it by hand essentially, and it'll just help you to catch the edge. And you can see it's just caught that, it picks it up, and then it gets you going basically. There you go, see it sticks to it?
Yeah.
And then you can just peel it off. So, yeah, so you've got the pencil, ink on pen, the Sgraffito, oil, pastel, wax resist, using the paintbrushes with the inks, the stencil and mask spray, and then the removing it, and then the masking fluid. Okay.